Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us today for our physiotherapy, coaching, and sports science pathways. So before we start on, I would like to check some technical checks just to check with you if you can hear us okay, hear me okay. Please raise your hand and lower your hand. If you can see me okay, so please raise your hand and lower your hand now. Thank you so much. Our chat box is closed today for this webinar, and you can ask any questions in question and answer box. So you can feel free to ask any questions throughout the session. We have some panelists here, our experienced teachers, so they will answer your questions throughout the session. Okay, so and now I'm going to hand over to Joseph, who will introduce himself and the teachers in his area. So,
yeah, hi guys, my name's Joe and I'm one of the teachers here on the course. I'm also going to introduce Shane, who's also another teacher, but he is on the audio chat, so he'll be taking your questions. So please put some questions in the chat for anything about the course, what the units might be, what you might be up to whilst on the course, and some alternative things too. We've also got Fevzi, who's one of the teachers on the video here. I don't know if Fevzi, you want to give a nice introduction for yourself?
Hello everyone, this is Fevzi. I'm one of the sports teachers, and I'm going to take you guys through some of the early slides of the presentation before we get Scott involved. Scott is one of our sports coaches, and then I think he's going to pass it back to Joe at the end.
Yeah, Scott, I don't know if you want to give an introduction. Scott is part of the Sports Leadership Academy. I don't know if Scott, if you want to come on and have a quick introduction.
Yeah, fine. My name's Scott. Nice to meet you, everyone. I'm a Sports Academy coordinator. We work with the sports team. So we are running all the lunchtime and extracurricular activities, as well as running the sports team. So we have a big to do with each other. So we're trying to work better with each other and trying to give all you guys a real good opportunity to play sport in college.
Okay, I think it's back to me. Shall I take over from this point onwards so that we can get through some of the early slides? So I suppose the key question at this stage is why I study at Nuvik. I would say hopefully you guys can join us in September to study at Nuvik, because especially as part of the sports program, we try to give you a very positive and engaging experience that gets you guys ready for university. Or if university is not something that you would consider at the time, maybe kind of entering the world of employment. We try to kind of get you guys ready, improve your foundations so that you guys feel ready to kind of move on after college, after a positive experience, hopefully. So shall we get started so if we can start going through the slides?
let's go on. So.
And Joe, Scott and Shane, feel free to kind of intervene at any stage if you guys want to make any kind of contributions, please feel free to do so. So I think we're going to start off by just kind of having a look at some of our students' comments. So I think we've got some comments from our first year students. So these students have only been with us actually for a few months, and they've only been with us during the pandemic period, shall we say, although I don't want to make a lot of reference to the pandemic. Their experience with us has only been during the pandemic. But if we go through some of the slides, Sabahat. So we'll look at the first one. So this is from Sam Dublal, one of our first year students. I'll just have a quick read for it for anyone who's kind of struggling to see their screen, and then we'll take it from there. It says the level 3 physiotherapy coaching and sports science course has been excellent so far. Each teacher is extremely supportive and goes above and beyond to make sure we are thoroughly prepared for our exams and for life beyond Newham Sixth Form College. I intend to apply to university after finishing my current course, and I believe that this course is teaching me valuable skills such as teamwork, leadership and communication. So some really nice words from Sam. A few kind of points to pick up on with regards to Sam, and I think we'll see it on other ones too, is the fact that it's good to see the word university being mentioned. So I'd like to think Sam and a few others have already been inspired from what they've seen, and they want to kind of take it further and expand their knowledge. So it's good to see that. And it's good to see that despite the negative effects of the pandemic, they're still enjoying their learning experience as best as possible, and they've all kind of made reference to it. So this is Mohammed Shanaf, another one of our first year students. I'll just kind of make reference to some of these points. So the level 3 physiotherapy coaching in sports high school so far has been very good. We have received excellent support from the teachers on exam learning content and revision. Activities such as anatomy and physiology workbooks have been extremely useful. Online lessons and remote education has been better than expected and not caused me any problems, which is good to see.
Yeah, sorry, both. Just to add in there, I think it's really important to allude to the fact that despite online learning, it is a UK national sort of circumstance we're under right now. No student feels like they've sort of lost out or they feel disadvantaged through online learning. And it's really encouraging to see some of these comments, and these are straight from the students themselves. We haven't had any input in what they've said, and it's really come from the heart. So it's really rewarding, and I think it shows what, as teachers, our department, the amount of time we spend on making sure our lessons are just as good if we're in the classroom and if they were online. Again, it's sort of been reflected there with the students, which is, I think, something that's really encouraging.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, actually, Joe. And we've got another comment here from David again. I think I won't read this one because I think it's just very similar, kind of in terms of the concept. But I think it's really important to highlight the section on anatomy and physiology. I think that's like a reoccurring theme where you see a lot of anatomy and physiology, which kind of links in nicely with one of our pathways. We try to encourage as many of our students as possible to go down the route of physiotherapy. It's very popular with our students, and it's good to know that they're enjoying the anatomy and physiology, because then hopefully that would give them a solid foundation to go to university and look into physiotherapy and take that kind of pathway at university. There's another one from Tariq over here, and the one that kind of sticks out for me is his communication skills and also his teamwork skills. So again, kind of making reference to the fact that as well as kind of teaching them kind of sports science content, we do also try to develop many of their social skills, interpersonal skills, so that hopefully by the time they leave and they go to university or they go to the kind of employment industry, hopefully they've got those skills that they can use. So I think it's really good to see Tariq feel like his communication skills are improving whilst he is with us. And just a quick note on Tariq, he's actually been with us for an extra year. So Tariq joined us on the level 2 program, and that's something that we take great pride in, having students on our level 2 program who excel, who do really well, and then they kind of move on to our level 3 program. So for anyone who's listening to this and who might be concerned about kind of meeting some of the criteria for the level 3 program, obviously not to worry too much at this stage. Hopefully you do get the grades that you're hoping for, but even if you join us at the level 2 program, we would be more than happy to kind of work with you, develop some of your skills, and then move you on to level 3 program, provided we're kind of all on the same page.
Yeah, and thirdly, again, just to add to that with Tariq, I think looking ahead to our exams, which unfortunately were cancelled in January, all of those students, including Tariq, was extremely confident going into that exam. And over Christmas, I am extremely confident and 100% confident in saying that all of them were prepared in the best possible way for that exam. And they all felt that themselves because they put the work in. So just to refer to that point in the fact of what Febs was saying earlier too, it's really encouraging.
Yeah, no, I can definitely echo Joe's point there. That's normally, under normal circumstances, I know that a lot of students would have enjoyed the exams being cancelled, but with the group that Joe was working with a lot, I know that many of those students were actually really upset and disappointed that the exam was cancelled, but which was kind of, in a weird way, quite pleasant to see that the students did want to actually challenge themselves and kind of see at what level they're working at. So that was an interesting point. We've got some information on our screen about entry requirements. So for those people who are thinking about joining us, hopefully those people are going through the kind of application process, they're completing their application forms. So as part of the sports program, we've got 2 separate programs. We've got level 3 programs and level 2 programs. So in terms of A levels and T levels, they kind of largely feature for different courses, but for the sports, we kind of mainly look at level 3 and level 2 BTECs, which is at the bottom of the page. So I'll just go through those quickly. So for level 3s, for those students hoping to join us at level 3 level, we would require a minimum of 4 GCSEs from grades 9 to 4. Now, obviously, with summer exams being cancelled, it's quite difficult to kind of assess where many of our students currently are at today. I know a lot of schools, a lot of secondary schools are kind of trying to figure out how those grades will be worked out. But to join our level 3 program, that's the kind of level that we would expect you to be at. Also, another point here about most courses also require a minimum of grade 4 in English and or maths. So if you've got one of those key subjects but not the other one, we can sometimes consider you for our level 3, but we would prefer you to have both English and maths so that you're not having to do a retake, and you can spend a lot of your additional time on things like the sports leadership program that Scott's going to go into later on. Just a quick reference to level 2. So BTEC level 2 program. So we would require 2 GCSEs at grades 9 to 4. So slightly lower than the level 3 expectations. And then we would also require a minimum of grade 3 in English or maths, just so that we know that hopefully you're developing some of those key kind of subjects so that you can move on to level 3 the following year. The level 2 program is only for 1 year. The level 3 program potentially could be a 2-year program. So that's subject of passing the first part, the first year element, and then you move on to the second year element. So you'll be with us for 2 years if you're on the level 3 program. So after 2 years, hopefully you can go off to university if that's your goal at the age of 18. Are we all good there? If we're all good, I think we can move on to the next slide. Okay, so this it just kind of does a breakdown over here. I think this is really important actually. So physiotherapy is something that we kind of take great pride in on our course, because a lot of our students take a lot of interest in it and we kind of encourage it. But I think it's really important to know that you can achieve physiotherapy through loads of different kind of pathways. It's not just one particular pathway. So if you wanted to, you could study A-levels and then go to university and become a physiotherapist. Or if that wasn't an option for you, if you didn't want to study A-levels or you weren't too sure about A-levels, you could potentially study sports science with us. If we look at this, the second option, if you study sports science with us, and then kind of go to university and look at physiotherapy, that is another pathway. So all this kind of shows you is that if you want to become a physiotherapist, there isn't just one particular pathway to get there. You can become a physiotherapist through loads of different pathways. And Joe and I think this year we were talking to some of our students who have been applying to university. Even at university kind of level, there are different courses at university level that can still get you to where you want to be. So just to kind of destroy that myth that, oh, if you want to become a physiotherapist, this is the path that you take. There are loads of different paths that you can take. And quite often we encourage that to say, you choose a path that best suits you and your skills, and that's perfectly okay. So we don't all have to kind of take the same pathway to achieve the same goals.
Yeah.
Shall we move on? Oh, Joe, did you want to say something? Or?
Yeah, I think you really hit it on the head there. I think it's really important. If you just look at your screen now, you can see the really diverse range of courses available. Not only A-levels, T-levels, vocational, but then you can see the degree that it follows. And I think Fevzi really touched on the point that just because you're doing a sports degree, it doesn't mean you're doing a sports degree at university in terms of maybe just physiology. Okay, there's such a broad range of really transferable degrees that sort of accumulates from what you study at UVic. Whether that's looking at sports development, sports coaching, sports management, so you sort of bring in a business element. I think there's a big traditional aspect that's very sciencey. Again, it can be quite challenging, but it's not. And we ensure that there's lots of enjoyment around that. And there's actually, we've actually, this year at UVic, we've had a sort of a change in an emerging faculty, and we actually work closely with the science department. And actually, a lot of the students really enjoy that side of it too, alongside things like business element and the professional development, which I know Fevzi actually has quite a lead on as well. Okay, so there is a really, really broad aspect to this course.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also to add to that, actually, sport is also one of the kind of fastest growing industries in the UK. So there are new opportunities coming out all the time, which is, I think, really important to highlight too. So shall we move on to our next slide? So this is looking at kind of different pathways to kind of become a sports coach, an instructor, an official. So an official in that context could be maybe a referee or just someone who's involved in organising events and so on. So again, if we just look at this, we can see that we can hopefully achieve these goals. So if the goal is to become a coach, an instructor, an official, through loads of different pathways, we could study A-levels. Unfortunately, we as a college, we don't have A-level PE this particular year, but we're kind of hoping to have it in a few years' time. But so that could be an option for some people to do A-level PE and then go to university and study sports and science. That could be one particular kind of pathway. Or if we kind of to sports science, so we could do sports science and then go to university and study a degree. But also going back to what Joe said about kind of sports being a part of a bigger faculty. And I know that we're in the same kind of faculty as health and social care. And those guys place quite a lot of emphasis on kind of well-being and sports and exercise. So that could be another pathway for anyone who's kind of hoping to become an instructor or so, to kind of look into health and social care and then go to university if they wish to. And also to highlight that with some of these courses, or some of these goals, should I say, you may not necessarily need to go to university as well. Although myself, Joe, and Shade, and hopefully Scott as well, we kind of quite often promote the idea of going to university because we've kind of enjoyed the benefits, and I feel like many other students can do too. Sometimes if the goal is just to kind of get to a certain career path, you may not always need to go to university. And I think we're quite open to share that as well. So it's not just a case of, oh, you have to go to university to succeed in life. You can succeed in life without going to university too. But we're giving you all the options to say. Quite often there are loads of different pathways, and it's really important to kind of look into these pathways. And one of the units that we actually do on the first year program is all about pathways. It's all about learning about different careers in the sports industry, which I think is really important to kind of address quite early on, so that people can choose as early as possible so they can start working towards that goal. Are we all good? Shall we move on to our next slide? Okay, cool. So now just a few idea kind of careers that many of our students have kind of moved on to in previous years. So we've got a sports coach, so for those who are unsure as to what you might be doing. So you'll help people participate in sports to work towards achieving their full potential. You may have a role in encouraging underrepresented groups or young people to participate in sport activities. And you could be a sports coach in one particular sport, and kind of specialize in that sport, kind of go all the way up the ladder in terms of your coaching badges, or you could be a coach that works with different groups. You could say, I'm going to kind of maybe kind of coach loads of different sports rather than specialize in one particular sport. Or you could also kind of specialize further and say, I want to be maybe a disability sports coach, or I want to be a coach with like particular groups in society. So again, sports coach itself is like a very, very broad area. Quite often we don't really see that in society. People just think, oh, sports coach. It's quite kind of a simple concept, which I think many of our sports people kind of disagree with today. It's actually far broader than that. There's a lot that it entails. Shall we move on to the next one? I don't know if you feel free to kind of come in at any stage if you feel like you want to add anything to it. Sports administrator, kind of a field that not many people probably know about or have heard of. They do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't really see. So you'll help to ensure the smooth running of a sports organisation, which may range from reception work at a local sports club to marketing or human resource at a major sports club. So sports administrators, if you go to any sports club, organisation, academy, you'll see a lot of work being carried out behind the scenes that people don't see. People quite often see the athletes and the coaches maybe, but there's a lot of work being carried out behind the scenes, and quite often these people don't get enough credit in my opinion. But also a lot of people like it working in that sports environment saying, I want to be an administrator, but rather than being an administrator in an office, just with kind of looking at maybe in the city, I'd rather be an administrator in a sports environment, working with athletes and kind of in that sort of environment, which I think can appeal to a lot of people as well. Shall we do it? So look at a few more. This is an interesting one, a sports psychologist. I think this is kind of one of our growing areas. So we've had a lot of interest in sports psychology over the last few years. A lot of our students have kind of expressed a lot of interest in sports psychology. I'm a little bit wary of time because I feel like we've only got 10 minutes left and we've still got quite a lot to get through. So sports psychology, looking at how the mind works, helping athletes kind of try and achieve their maximum potential. A growing area, and a lot of our students have gone to university to kind of study sports psychology as well. Should we do it? So I had a few more. Sports development officer, trying to kind of get as many kind of concepts, as many kind of members of society involved in sport as possible. There are loads of groups, unfortunately, who don't have access to sports, trying to reach out to those groups, maybe running events, kind of marketing and so on. So again, kind of a really key area that we try and kind of encourage our students to kind of look into. And finally, lastly, but not by least, PE teaching, something that we definitely encourage a lot of our students. We kind of encourage, well, obviously myself, Joe and Shane, we enjoy it, and we definitely kind of encourage other students, but not necessarily at the college level. They might want to kind of become a PE teacher in a secondary school. And I know that more and more primary schools are actually employing full-time PE teachers too. So that's a kind of another option for a lot of students who are thinking about PE teaching. We've got a few videos. I think we've got two. Shall we look at one of the videos, Joe? I don't know how you would feel about that, so that we can try and squeeze in everything.
I think we'll look at this video here because I think it's probably the most relevant.
Yeah. Okay. We'll watch the first one.
The importance of the sports scientist role is growing all the time as our understanding of the world of the human body and physical activity deepens. They work with the team behind me to equip us with the latest knowledge, studies and information available to help improve physical prowess and performance. Typically, sports scientists work with sports coaches and sports therapists to improve performance and efficiency of individuals and teams. They work with doctors to help people improve health through exercise, and with hospitals and other centres in areas like physical rehab. They're often involved in research projects and offer advice on designing and manufacturing new sports equipment and technologies. They have a lot on their plate, but they thrive in business and more and more people are interested in it. With health and fitness a bigger concern for people all over the world, sports scientists are lucky in that they'll have lots of options within their careers. They can work with universities, colleges, schools, sports organisations, local authorities, and often be self-employed once they're established in their field. Also, with the skills they pick up while being a sports scientist, they can move into related areas like sports development or performance testing and research. Studying a BTEC in sport and exercise science will help equip you with the skills you need to be a sports scientist.
I think that's a really nice video, kind of putting everything together, saying why study kind of BTEC sports, some of those skills to hopefully kind of develop and then hopefully get to university and then all the different kind of fields that you could enter. I think the videos are quite similar, so I don't know, Joe, if you...
Yeah, we'll move on, I think, from this video.
Yeah, because we've only got I think 8 minutes left. So I don't think we need to watch the second video because I think we're struggling for time. And I'll pass these slides on to Scott, our cricket coach, but he also does loads of other coaches. So Scott, over to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a bit of a multi-sports coach, I think, as you were talking about Fevsy before. I think that's involved in work, exactly what Fevsy just said. Actually worked in a primary school as their PE teacher for 3 years, running every single sport there is. So yeah, absolutely. So my name's Scott, as I said. I'm the Leadership Academy. I run the Leadership Academy, and we're looking at being in partnership with the sports team this year. So when you sign up, we'll be looking at you getting involved in this Leadership Academy. So if we can change this slide for me. What is the Leadership Academy? So the Leadership Academy aims to develop and deliver professional sport and physical activity qualifications. So you'll get a level 3 sports leaders. You may have heard of the level 1 and level 2 while you're at school. You'll learn about the technical, tactical and knowledge demands of your chosen qualification, and you will independently lead a group over a period of time. So this is looking at you becoming a coach or a leader, okay, giving you those skills for that to happen. The structure of the session, the structure of the qualification, there are, as you can see on here, there are increasing number of qualifications offering specific routes for coaches who want to specialise in the coaching of different age groups as well as different disciplines within the sport. A handful of opportunities that Academy offer are shown below. So we're looking at a level 1 or level 2 national governing body. They include, we'll come on to them in a minute, so a number of sports that we actually provide. We get you on the course and put you on the course, and we also assist you on the course as well, giving you everything you need while you're on there. So we give you the backup as you might need, and the help and the knowledge. Specialists in the coaching of different age groups, like Febsy said, working with children, working with disabilities, working with older people, working in specific sport, easy for me to say. Looking at your pathways, so we're looking at paid full-time or part-time employment. If you're going to university, you know, you could be working at Iceland, could be working at Tesco's. I know I'd rather be working as a football coach or cricket coach or basketball coach, earning my money and enjoying it. Looking at continued professional development as well. So lots of courses for you to really grow as a coach, not just in one sport or just in like knowledge in one bubble. It's about really sort of opening up our bubble to learn lots of different things. And then, like the guys were saying earlier, transferring those skills, which is absolutely key. And I know that the older I've got, I know the guys will probably agree with me, the more I've realised how many skills I can actually transfer over to many different things. So, you know, really important. Some of the qualifications. So we're looking at football, futsal, basketball, cricket, boxing, netball, badminton, tennis, athletics, just to name a few. So if you're interested in any of those sports, and even if you're not interested in those sports, but you want to look at becoming better at them, you can also take those courses as well. So I've got level 1s in pretty much most sports, Not sound very good at them, by the way, but I just that's a secret. Don't let anyone else know that. So you will, in this course, be active participant in your own learning. So you will take onus on your own learning, which is really important. As a coach, we all need to do that. We'll work together to achieve courtesy and professionalism. Of course, that is one we make sure we do, and engage with the academy to provide representation and leadership. So that's working within the community around Newham, but also if you are part of a football team or a cricket team, whatever else it is, you can be a part of their community as well, assisting and volunteering there. Some take responsibility and initiative to communicate with the academy, which is obviously key. Communication is massive. You'll find that out when you go to college. These guys will tell you communication is massive. Oh, masterclass, we're in. So just going through those slides, we've run out of time, but really, really good Leadership Academy. Looking forward to seeing you there, to get involved and working alongside the sports team. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So yes.
Have we got enough time for the masterclass, or I'm very conscious we
literally have 3 minutes left, so you guys decide what you want to do.
Well, I think we can go very, very briefly, but I'm aware that the slides will go online as well, and obviously it's quite a tricky topic to sort of speed through. So I wouldn't want to do a sort of a half job. So I think perhaps we'll actually leave that and to go online, because I don't think 2 minutes is quite enough to go through those slides, and I think it will be much more appreciated that way.
Shall I just make reference to the leadership program just in terms of how it works? So just to clarify, as the sports program, we try to have partnerships with loads of different kind of both internal and external kind of organisations. And as kind of, I think Scott made reference to earlier, we are hoping to work a lot closer this year and also kind of moving forward. So it's one of the partnerships that we're kind of hoping to set up. Although we work with Scott on a regular basis, but kind of put something in place so that a lot of our sports students kind of work or kind of be a part of the leadership program, as well as kind of doing loads of other partnership programs. So we have loads of partnerships, and one of those partnerships will be the kind of leadership project. And hopefully by the time you guys join us in September, that'll be all in place and you guys will be kind of automatically enrolled onto the leadership program. So you'll see a lot of myself and the sports teachers and also Scott as well, hopefully.
I think just also quite something to sort of summarize on is perhaps, I think if you asked any one of us, me, myself, Shane or Thebsy, I think we would be 100% confident in saying any one of the students on our particular level 3 program, which is a 2-year program, we're confident in them saying that they'd be very encouraging of the course and they're really enjoying it at present, despite, as we said, the online conditions at the moment. But we're so we're really proud of our students. And they're all really excelling in whatever unit they're studying at the moment. That puts them in a really good position going forward, whether it be university or whether it be an apprenticeship or an alternative means of employment. We're really happy to support them through that. And
okay.
here was so I was just going to mention that was the masterclass, but that will be going online. I really do encourage you guys to have a quick look at that.
Of course, as as all these slides will be on website, so you can go through them individually. Okay, so our applications are open now, so you can apply. Go to our website, newwic.ac.uk, and apply section, and you can complete the application form and apply there now because it's open now. If you have any questions, you can email us on advice@newwic.ac.uk. And as we are running so many sessions today, if you have missed anything, you can go visit our website from next week onward. You will see, you can take opportunity to watch these videos again. If you are interested in any courses, go there and watch videos and check out our slides. So you will be able to get more information about the courses. And thank you very much for joining us today. This is it. Thank you. Bye from us now. Bye, everybody.